We're just gonna go all LA and Babyface.
Happiness is when I think of you and really get together and rendezvous. I'll be on time.
Shouts out to the Faith Records.
Lock the door or you'll be all mine.
Dance that. Come on. Honey, gonna dance one? Checking out the Danny Morrison Show. You on a rendezvous talking reparations tonight. Danny Mo Show, KBLA, Talk 15A Dad. People checking in on YouTube, by the way. Before we go to the next page here on YouTube, Urban Radio Nation said she is from the freedmens who are indigenous to this land. Now from Africa, correct? People categorized as Negro in the 1800s who denied being Indian so they wouldn't be sent to reservations in Oklahoma. Is that factual, Ms. Connie?
To some degree, but we have to remember, first of all, we're a very unique people. So when Africans go, you're African, you're African. What is your fixation with trying to make us African? Like I said, you don't do it to the Caribbeans. You only do it to us. We're an admixture of people, meaning that we're mixed with all types of, European, French, Italian, Black, African, whatever. There are those that theorize, and there's writings on this, a lot of, and see, I don't want to upset people. Some Black Americans call themselves American Indians. You and I discussed that we have Indian in our family. We know from readings, there's even pictures. We were here prior to Christopher Columbus. Those people got reclassified. At one point, they were like, just call them all Negroes.
Right.
That's what that theory is.
That's actually one of my questions we're going to get into before the end of the show, because I think a listener wrote that in. We'll talk about that.
Sure.
Can we take a couple quick phone calls, though? Can we go to Tibby? Is that a man or a woman, Tibby? I don't know how to... A man?
Tippy. My name is Tippy, a man.
Hi, Tibby. Give me your height, your color, and your hood, Tibby.
Well, I'm a so-called black man. I'm 5'10".
Where you calling from?
Los Angeles, California.
L.A. checking in. Drop that. Come on, Andy. Let's go. What's on your mind tonight, Tibby?
Okay. The only people who should get paid reparation is the people that came in slave ship that do not have any land. The West Indian Caribbean people have a land. The people in Africa have a land. We the only people, so-called Negroes, that have no land, no property, no land, no culture, no heritage. We don't have no land.
Culture.
Everybody's got a land, right? Everybody else have a land. Am I right?
It's funny you're saying that right now. We had a conversation a couple weeks ago about culture. Not with you. We had just a general conversation.
Yeah.
What is our culture? Can you describe in a number of words Black culture? I just want to hear your...
Black American freedman culture?
From your standpoint, I'd love to hear.
Well, first of all...
so-called Black America. But I really believe, we are the Hebrew Israelite that was sold into Africa. We was a slave under the African. And then we get sold for mustard gun and wine to the so-called white man into America.
Okay.
Really. We really the Hebrew Israelites.
All right.
We really not African because we've been enslaved in Africa for 1,500 years, before we were sold.
All right, Tibby, you sound you be tipsy. Give me your cultural answer.
Oh yeah, we first of all we have our own foods. that we prepare specifically the way that we prepare them, not like white Americans, not like Latinos, not like Asians, not like Africans, not like Caribbeans. We have our own dishes that we cook and prepare. We have our own church customs. We have our own language. We have Tutanese. We also have AAVE, which is akin to, patois, that, like the broken English that the Africans speak, and the Caribbeans and what have you. We have our own style of dress, which the whole world copies. We have our dances are global.
Definitely.
Everything that we do. How do you say a people have no culture when the whole world copies us? We're the only ones that do this. No one else can exceed or outpace us, because when you're trying to copy something, you can never outpace those people, because you're pretty much an empty vessel. So you've got to pull from here, figure out how to do that. We're on to the next. We are just a great, beautiful, mighty people. I mean, we've started we're a warrior class of people.
Now, for the record, I agree with everything you're saying. And by the way, I love the way you said it, because I love black people just as much as you do.
Yes.
But the reason we had this conversation, because we were saying there was a Chinese New Year celebration going on in the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I went there.
Yeah.
And you could feel the custom.
Right.
When I was out there.
Right.
Same thing with the Latinos here.
Right.
I'm saying if there is an African American festival here in Los Angeles.
Like Juneteenth.
Is that our custom, our culture?
Yes.
That is put out there?
Did you attend
Every year.
the last year's and the year before?
Yes.
You didn't feel the culture?
But is there anything that is specific to African Americans that are out there?
I just told you.
What would white people say if they went there and said, I know this was black people, black heritage that I'm feeling when I'm out here because I saw ... What would they say?
They would, and we met, we curated the museum there and whatever. White people always talk about the warmth. There's a white blogger, I wish I remember his name. He's in Poland right now. And he said people are going to think this is weird, but they said, what do you miss most about the United States? He said black people. Because we are the culture. So back to the question, let's not confuse the fact that we're Americans. See, we're in our own country, right? And then people say you have no culture. We're Americans. We're being Black American freedmen. So because we don't wear some traditional garb, we're a very modern people. We're always evolving, right? That's our culture. We're what do you call that?
There are some that would say without some African garb embedded into the conversation, we don't really have a cultural aspect to our festivals.
Then
is that not fair to say?
It is not fair. We're American. Just because we don't do some 100-year-old dance, that doesn't make us any less culture.
But we haven't found a way to monetize what you're talking about. I love the way it sounds. It has to be something that can be monetized.
But that's such a deep conversation. Why haven't we been able to monetize our culture to the extent that we should, right? The reason is enslavement and everything that happened thereafter. Everything in this country is controlled by whites. Our music, we created every music genre, even classical, don't believe the lie.
No, it's real talk.
Every music genre, every dance, every clothing style.
You preach it on this broadcast.
Right.
I totally agree.
But we have not been able to fully monetize because we're at the behest of white men and Jewish men. That is how this country is set up. Let me ask you this. Are the Africans monetizing their culture? Are the Caribbeans monetizing their culture?
The reason it came up is because I always go out here to Leimert Park on Saturday. What they do out there, to me, is magical to me. I love being out there on Saturdays. But there is definitely an African vibe out there.
Because a lot of the vendors and the business owners over there now are Africans.
It is fantastic, though. I love it. Is there a place in L.A. that is not like Leimert Park, but is more in your lane? Black American freedmen heritage. I don't think there is. The African people in this city have found a way to monetize what you and I are talking about right now.
Right, but shall I delve into that?
Absolutely.
So Q said, we don't get preferential treatment. It's proven. It is proven. Like I said, the Googler is your friend. We're the only...
Stop, don't do that. See,
what? What?
I say that to my kids. Don't do that. Dad, what is this word? Google is your friend. Look into it.
The Googler is your friend. Google.
Go ahead.
Chat GPT too.
All right, we got you. Go ahead.
Okay. So, you can't get me off track.
You said you're going to show a way that Africans are somehow being monetized?
So first of all, immigrants in general outpace all Americans.
No doubt.
Native-born Americans. And there's a reason for that. Black American freedmen, we don't have the support of our government. Every ethnicity that comes here has a government that stands up for them. When they're being mistreated, they have meetings, telephone calls are made. Also, they get funding from their countries. It's not just a one-way street where they're sending remittances. They also get funding from family and friends, from governments, from wealthy investors, all types of things. We don't have that. So that whole notion of why don't we have this and we have that, we're in the most unique circumstance in the world. We are actually captives in a country that hates us and will do anything to undermine us. Also, what we see is we're seeing a lot of our roles being, television roles, film roles being taken over by Africans.
Yeah.
White and admissions to college and things of that nature. And white people are saying we prefer to hire Africans because they're so polite.
Well, they say that about Latinos in sports, too, by the way.
Right.
And they're also saying that about Black British people in acting right now.
Right. And that's the erasure of us. And what it is they don't like us. We don't like them. The things that I've worked in corporate. The things that I've heard them say to Africans is mind-blowing to me. You could never get away with saying certain things to Black Americans. And the little slights, like white people delight in, those little microaggressions. So now we have Africans coming over here. They do TikToks about it. And they do the little pointing in the air. It doesn't bother us. We've experienced worse. So they're saying, and they've told us on Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces, you guys need to learn to kiss. Okay?
Keep it clean.
We went through centuries of fighting. Like I said, we're the warrior class. We're the ones that started all the Black empowerment movement. Fela Kuti, when Afrobeat, it was Afrobeat before it was Afrobeats.
Right.
He came here and he said, wow, I'm singing about flowers and birds. And you guys are over here singing about revolution. Every ethnicity all around the world will tell you they drew their inspiration from us.
There's no doubt.
Right. That's a culture. And then back to why they've been able to, do what they're doing. Q said they don't get preferential treatment. There's a such thing called the Office of New Americans. Don't be fooled. The Latinos aren't the only ones getting free debit cards and EBT cards and what else? Telephones, housing, transportation vouchers. That's for all immigrants. The Somalis are the poorest melanated immigrants in the United States, right? They're out of control. They're wilding out in Minnesota. They're committing the most heinous crimes. But anyway, they're the few that don't come from wealth. There's a lot of, they're real refugees, right? Seeking asylum. Most of the immigrants here are economic immigrants. They're here for economic opportunity. So we can't be compared to a people that has an economic base.
Okay, I hear you. Andy, real quick.
Let's take reparations out of the conversation. I'm just curious to know if there's still love for other melanated folks who aren't freedmen, who aren't FBAs, who aren't descendants of slaves. Is there love for your fellow melanated brother or sister?
To piggyback on what he's saying, you can answer on the other side, okay? There's a number of people that got in my DMs after you left, and they said they hate the fact that you are almost segmenting out.
I'm not almost, I am.
1-800-920-1580, 1-800-920-1580. I want you to answer that on the other side. A little bit more, please.
I will.
Danny Morrison Show, KBLA Talk 1580. We got a lot to talk about. Stay there.
From Bakersfield to Los Angeles. From middays to nighttime. Like George and Wheezy, Danny Morrison is moving on up at KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates women's history, spotlighting women in our community who are creating positive change. This KBLA Women's Leader Series, sponsored by Walmart, spotlights Molly Bell. Please meet Molly Bell. Molly Bell is a community activist and prayer warrior. Straight out of Compton, Molly Bell's activism and dedication to service and community has gained her recognition as an honorary member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Molly Bell exemplifies one who is worthy of the KBLA Women's Leader Series, sponsored by Walmart. KBLA and Walmart salutes Molly Bell. This KBLA Women's Leader Series, sponsored by Walmart, spotlights Gabrielle Earl. Gabrielle has taken part in developing and establishing the Black Family Circle Parent Advisory Committee for the ABC School District. Gabrielle was a disaster service worker during the pandemic, helping support the unhoused. Gabrielle is an employee for the City of Los Angeles, Port of LA as a wharfinger. Gabrielle was awarded the LABP Trailblazer Award in the City of Los Angeles in February 2023. KBLA and Walmart salutes Gabrielle Earl.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin ultra strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Okay. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands for Unity and Healing. African Focus Incorporated is a nonprofit organization based in California that focuses on the growth and well-being of Africans all around the world. Their mission is to promote the well-being of people of African descent through knowledge and appreciation of one another by building a bridge of love and understanding. African Focus Incorporated strives for cultural, educational, and economic growth. They're the organization behind the African Family Induction Ceremony, African Goodwill Awards, African Focus Trailblazer Tours, African Dance Competition, and Showcase Los Angeles, Family Day, Good News Windows Microfinance Project, and more. To volunteer, travel with African Focus, or to attend one of their community building events, please call 310-676-7730. That's 310-676-7300. Or visit AfricanFocus.org. This is a diaspora-wide community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Real talk, real time, the gospel truth. You're listening to the Danny Morrison Show on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm here to tell you it is heated in this studio tonight. Danny Morrison Show, KBLA Talk 1580. We're just having a behind-the-scenes conversation, if you will, off mic. And there are a number of people, when you left the show last time, they were saying she keeps segmenting out black people, and we cannot stand whenever people from their group see somebody on the news that commits a crime and just happens to be a black person, and they are so quick to jump on it and say, yeah, but that's not a black American freedman that committed that. Why do you do that when you know and I know, when we get pulled over by the cops, they don't care about that.
Yes,
they
they
just
do.
see that you black.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Yes,
Stop
they
it
do.
right now.
Yes, they
Explain.
do.
Go ahead.
Okay, number one, I know African people, I know Caribbean people, and they will tell us, oh, they see my name and they treat me different. Or I'll use my accent and they treat me different. We know, like the 30s to the 50s, they even wore lapel pins, the Africans, when they came to visit, so that they weren't identified as black Americans. So we already know that there is preferential treatment. Then you say, well, why is it that you point out their criminality? Because every time Africans and Caribbeans accomplish something, the flags go up. Hey, boo, 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 Jamaica.
Careful.
Why? That's what they do.
Okay.
They start celebrating the Super Bowl. The Nigerians pulled out their Nigerian flags. But when they commit crime, silence. We're all black. So if you're going to celebrate your culture, then you also have to take your L's. We're not going to absorb your L's and then watch you guys flaunt your successes And then a lot of times they don't even celebrate us. What's her name? The track girl, Richardson.
Sha'Carri.
Sha'Carri. They were rooting against Sha'Carri.
Yeah.
In favor of Caribbeans. Also, I think she's half Caribbean. But anyway.
I believe so.
Your engineer said, is there love? Now, I'm going to speak for myself. I believe in allyship. But like someone said, no, we need an accomplice. If you're going to be an ally, stand with us. Stand on the front line with us. Don't just say, oh, I'm an ally. I love everyone. When we see that Africans and Caribbeans are separating themselves for us. Right now, everyone can Google African organizations. Thousands of them will pop up.
Mm-hmm.
None of the mission statements mention us. Everything is for them. But they want to double dip in our culture. On college campuses, our children are complaining because they've started, the Ethiopian Student Association, the Nigerian Association, the Ghana Association. But our kids can't join that. But they demand that they also get to join our orgs. So we're all black as long as it's benefiting other people. So your engineer said, is there love? I'm only going to speak for myself. No, I don't have love. I love my people first. I'm just being honest. I love my people first and foremost. I will respect you over here.
Right.
But until they show allyship, like I said, they don't even like one another on the continent. So I'm supposed to believe that you can really ally with me? And I don't know why Fahima told that big fib, oh, you guys are cursing them out on Clubhouse. They're the ones that came on there and told us, you have no culture. You don't even have naming ceremonies. And they always say this, you don't know where you're from. Baby, yes, we do. We're from the United States of America. You don't tell the Caribbeans you don't know where you're from. Why? Why? And most Africans don't even know where they're from. When I talk to them, they don't even know that their countries were redrawn and renamed. I can go back and show you my lineage all the way right now up to 1850. Most Africans can't do that.
Right.
But they're always trying to tell us what we're not. And their one little card they hold in their back pocket, you don't know where you're from. Why does that taste so good in your mouth? Why do you not want us to know where we're from? Why do you say, why are you waving the American flag? Because it's our country.
1-800-920-1580, 1-800-920-1580. Let's go to MJ on the phone. MJ, give me your height, your color, and your hood, MJ.
Hey. This is MJ calling from Baldwin Hills.
Baldwin Hills checking in. Drop that. Come on.
Yeah.
What's on your mind tonight, MJ?
Yeah. Well, as I'm sitting here thinking, first I want to acknowledge both of you, Black King and Black Queen, standing on your throne and doing what you do, using your gifts, making room. It's making room for all of us. So I appreciate you all, standing in and accepting the call that you all, and you're doing it exceptionally. So I thank you for that.
Oh, God bless you.
And inside of that, I think that the debate to distinguish blackness from other blackness, or in relationship to Africanness, it's a ploy that is there to divide us up, again, just as they did on the plantation, to dilute, diminish, and disenfranchise black unity and black power, and undermine the whole project of black freedom. I think it's like the Olympics of suffering. But let me say also in that same breath that I am not dismissing the reality of intracommunal black violence between black bodies. You know what I'm saying? But I think that conversation is a distraction, because I think that the locus of truth is that black bodies all over the world are catching hell, suffering violence and crying out, I want to be free. You said differently, it ain't just burning in Mississippi. Hell, it's hot everywhere. And it's a type of suffering, that struggles with this black faith, the God who is of black people. I think black people are the children of the sun, and I think it's a type of multidimensional suffering, because we constantly are struggling with our own black faith that looks at our culture and a culture of death with this type of paradoxical hope. It's like on one side we recognize the evil, yet still we believe in the God of history, who has the power to absolute transform everything. That the faith is both deeply rooted in black experience and points beyond it. And I think one of the things that we saw with the emergence of black unity dramatized all over the world in response to George Floyd. You know what I'm saying? From continent to continent, from coast to coast, from city to city, that black bodies everywhere were saying that there's this experience of blackness, existential blackness, you know, and that, hell, don't treat anybody that way. You know, and it's the same way, I think it's the same type of psychological gaslighting and psychological warfare, just as they did on the plantations, to divide the family up, to divide the community up, put light skin here and dark skin here, put these over here and those over there, take this part and separate them up, keeping us disenfranchised. It's the same thing. It employs the same type of tactic. You know what I'm saying? I think of white racism that has us. Then if we're fighting on this ourselves, we can't fight the other fight.
We got
and it's
you.
not that we don't already have the fight.
All right, MJ, I got you.
So,
by the way, I gotta let you go because I'm up against it. Give him call of the night because that was a great run you just went on. I appreciate that. Call more. I appreciate your input, okay?
He even went into existentialism.
All right, I got 90 seconds. You want to answer him?
Real quick. He was alluding to Pan-Africanism. Mm-hmm. And Pan-Africanism is a failed theory. Pan-Africanism has always been a one-way street. Black Americans were the biggest Pan-Africanists. If you look back to the Bill Cosby days, the Cosby Show, you know, when I was in college, when you were in college, people were wearing the African, you know, the leather, you know, the map.
The medallion.
And we were very much Pan-Africans. Mm-hmm. But again, that has not been reciprocated. Why do Caribbeans get citizenship in some African countries, but not us? Why has no one ever come for us? Why has no one ever helped us? But we're always hearing about what we can do for Africa, this teeny small group of people. So I say that to say, if we're going to be Pan-Africanists, again, he was saying the white man is not making Africans call us racial slurs. The white man is not making Africans fight and genocide and ethnocide one another. They have a problem at home, and they bring that anti-blackness here. They're used to seeing one another as an enemy, whereas we're trained to see one another as family. You can't be family with people who tell you to your face that the white man is right and this lazy thing. You're lazy. Where are you getting this from? We've been here fighting. You don't even know our history. Can't even discuss our history. And you're trying to tell us we're lazy, and you're here capitalizing off of everything that we built. But we're lazy? That's insulting.
I think some people are concerned with you're making a whole lot of generalizations about an entire group of people.
No, we have to talk in collectives. When I talk about us, I don't go, some of us. When I talk about white people, I say white people. I say Africans, I say Caribbeans, I say Black American freedmen. So people need to get out of their feelings. I don't have time to sit here, 2.2% of Africans and 3 point, come on. We're all grown folks here.
1-800-920-1580, 1-800-920-1580. When we come forward, Fahima's on the phone.
Hey, Fahima.
We will have the conversation on the other side. Danny Mo Show, KBLA Talk 1580. Right now, news and traffic. Stay there.
Nighttime is the right time for Danny Morrison on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Julius White. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. With 8 days before the Chicago runoff election, African-American Brandon Johnson is rallying support for his campaign. Perry Williams has more.
Reverend Al Sharpton appeared at New Mountain Pilgrim MB Church and defended the Cook County Commissioner's stance on public safety.
Brandon, you talk about that on my show, they try to put that on. We are not the defund the police. We are the define the police.
Well, money has become more important to Americans in the last 25 years, while patriotism and other values have become less important. Now, according to a Wall Street Journal poll, 43% of Americans say money is important, compared to 31% in 1998. By contrast, the importance of patriotism dropped from 70% of Americans in 1998 to only 40% today. I'm Julius White on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Stop going it alone for recruiting and staffing. Choose a local expert. Hiring is about getting to know people, not algorithms. So let the team at Express Employment Professionals hire for you. Visit expresspros.com to find the office near you.
It's getting hot in here.
KBLA Talk 1580 is apparently the talk of the town. From the LA Times to our talk radio competitors.
Hey, there was a story in the LA Times about Tavis Smiley. Now he is back with his own radio station, KBLA, black-owned and oriented towards the black audience. So, Mo, considering your knowledge of Tavis and his audience, what's your take on this?
Well, I think in a general industry sense, I think it's always good when there are more outlets, there are more talk radio, there's more voices and representation. At that point, I think talk radio had been too homogenous for too long.
Real quickly, is it going to succeed, yes or no?
I think it's going to succeed.
You think?
There's a new sheriff in town.
We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCEL scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Periods don't care what you're doing, but your pad should. Get Always Triple Protection System in Always Day and Night Pads. Always Day Pads protect when active by wicking away gushes 2 times faster than leading store brands and giving us up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort. When we size up our pad at night, we get the same triple protection, plus up to 75% more coverage in the back for when we're laying down. No matter what, Always has you covered, day and night.
Hi, it's me, Gia Peppers. Tune in to More Than That live on radio this weekend or wherever you listen to podcasts. This week, I'm talking to our guests, Carmion Hamilton and Jewel Pearson, who share how DIY and tiny homes can allow us to reimagine where we live and the spaces we love. This episode of More Than That is brought to you by Kroger, making fresh food more accessible for our local communities.
It is 1,000% imperative that Black people enjoy the environments that they are in. We, as a people, have gone through enough over the last 400 years. The least we could do for ourselves is exist in a space that we feel good about being in. And I tell people, even if you don't see it together in the inspiration that you're looking for, the fact that you love these things, like, it may not go together for anybody else. It may not make sense to anybody else, but the fact that you love them, that is the thread. And so it will absolutely go together when it's pulled together in your space. It will make sense to you because it's your space.
I wanted to make decisions that were based on what does Jewel want to do versus how much money do I have in my bank account. And that's kind of when I pivoted and decided that I was building a tiny house on wheels and started the research, and here I am. I think I'd start with the very cliche, less is more, for one thing, and then build from there. Because I don't feel like I have given anything up in this process, and that I attribute to the design of my home. And I have all of the things in my home because before I actually built, I knew who I was and what I needed to have in this space. You don't have to give up luxury to go tiny.
You're listening to the Danny Morrison Show exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let freedom ring with a buckshot, but not just yet. First, we need to truly understand the nature of the threat. And a pale man walks in the threshold of darkness. Roughly 20,000 years ago, the first humans evolved with the phenotypical trait, genetic recessive, blue eyes, blonde hair, and white skin. Albinism apparently was a sin to the original man, African, so the mutants traveled north of the equator. Go Europeans later, the first race haters. So here's the devil's alpha to the beta. Cause history's best qualified to teach one. Quoting German philosopher Schopenhauer, every white man is a faded or a bleached one. Migration created further mutation. Genetic drifts, evolution through recombination. Adaptation to the climate. As the Caucasus mountain man reverted to that of a primate. Savage Neanderthals until the late Paleolithic age. That's when the black Grimaldi man came. With the symbol of the dragon, fire and art. Check cave paintings in France and Spain to the Venus of Willendorf. Around 2000 BC, southern Russians migrating small units. Those who traveled west populated Europe. Those who went east settled in Iran, known as Aryans. 1500 BC, some crossed the Khyber Pass into India and created Hinduism. The first caste system, the origins of racism. A white dot on the forehead meant delete. The black dot defeat, untrustable, untouchables. They wrote the Holy Vedas in
You were checking out the
That's
Danny
the
Morrison Show on KBLA Talk
Latin
1580. Connie Collins coming in, burning it up as usual. And now the battle everybody's been waiting for.
I'm just a sweet old lady.
You really are. You're not an old lady, though. What are you, 25, 26? 29. Let's go to the phones. Let's do it. Fahima, give me your height, your color, and your hood, Fahima.
I'm 5'6", Carmel Brown, and I'm in the nation's capital by way of Harlem.
Washington, D.C., checking in. Drop that. Come on. Yeah. The floor is yours.
Greetings, Danny, and greetings to your guests. I want to first start by saying Bill Cosby was not a Pan-Africanist.
That's not what I
Kwame
said.
Ture was a
That's not what I said.
In her defense, she
What
didn't
did
say
you
that.
say?
Never said
What,
that.
what did you say?
I was giving
Well,
examples.
Go ahead.
I was giving examples of the Pan-African pride that we used to have. And so I was trying to reference different points in time. So that was like, what, the 90s?
Yeah, it was,
Early 90s?
It was 80s.
Yeah, but I was just going, I mentioned we were wearing college. We were wearing the African gear.
Yeah.
We were wearing the African earrings.
Yes,
We were wearing kente cloth.
She was using that as a time period reference more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead. Go ahead.
That was the period of Afrocentricity when we had study groups and we were studying and reading, not just adorning ourselves. But Kwame Ture and Malcolm X, those were Pan-Africanists. But Bill Cosby was not a Pan-Africanist. And I've observed this situation. And I remember, Connie, when you were with ADOS and now you're with FBA. And I don't understand the antagonism. I don't understand the need. If you want to be a foundational Black American or a American descendant of a slave or the new thing is freeman, fine. But what is the point of attacking people? I sat and I watched a lot of these comments that took place on Twitter, because you had another Twitter account, and I saw some of the vitriol, the attacks on people. And then I saw that you have this other Cece, but you had another Twitter account that was in your name, and I saw some of the things that you were tweeting towards people were very antagonizing. I mean, calling people, just insulting people. If you want to be a foundational Black American, fine, but what is the point of attacking other people?
May I answer? Because you've asked me 3 different ways. Okay, so first of all, I'm not in a group. I'm an ethnicity. I'm a freedman. I'm ADOS. I'm an American descendant of slavery. I'm an American descendant of chattel slavery. I'm a foundational Black American. I'm a Black American. I'm an African American. They're all one and the same. They're just ethnic identifiers and descriptors. So this isn't about a group. I'm not in a group. I am repping my lineage. And as far as attacking people, you know what I find really odd about Pan-Africanists such as yourself? It's so weird that you never hear what the Africans say about us. You never admit to the horrific names that they call us, the horrible things that they say to us. So typically, if I say something very mean to an African or Caribbean, you better believe they came from me first. I'm not just sitting around coming up with names to call people, but we are the kings and queens of roasting, our Black American freedmen. You come for us, you're going to get it 10 times as hard. So a lot of them have fallen back. And so you come for us, you want to go to war, we're going to war. Can you tell me why is it that Pan-Africanists never seem to chastise Africans or Caribbeans? You're always telling us what we're doing wrong, that we're divisive, that we're xenophobic. And no matter how many examples we give you, you're silent. You just move on.
Fahima?
But those are anecdotal examples. You know, you sat here and you said a number of things that aren't true.
You're not answering the question. You're moving. You're moving.
Let her.
But she's not answering the question.
My cousin was chief judge of immigration appointed by Bill Clinton, Judge Michael Crippy. Refugees do get resettlement. But if you are an African or a Caribbean or a black person from South America, from Haiti, if you are not a refugee, you're not getting anything. And you have some Africans and that may have money and they can pay to go to school. I've taught at HBC for 20 years. And a student may have a visa. They're not allowed to work in this country. And they're not getting these benefits that you continue to claim. I saw a video on YouTube recently where you were saying, oh, these people, they get all of these benefits. And that's simply not true. Unless you're a refugee, you get resettlement money. And you look at every scholarship application, it says, must be an American citizen. So I don't know why the antagonism. If you want to be a foundational black American, American descendants of slaves, a freedman, fine. But I don't see the point of attacking people. It's divisive, and I think really that's the agenda.
2 minutes.
Fahima, have you ever heard an African say anything disparaging about a black American?
Yes, I have. One time, there was a security guard who was giving me a ride home because I had missed the train, and he was complaining about the students.
Okay, but you don't hear it on Twitter. You don't hear it on Twitter Spaces. You don't hear it on Clubhouse. And you've only heard it once in your life.
You know, I just found it interesting. Right after you did the pull-up, you contended you're a part Native American. You were very disrespectful to that Native woman. And you probably don't remember because there's been so many incidences. I just don't see the need to be divisive.
No, can you tell me when No, you don't get to just drop that and keep moving. What Native woman was I disrespectful to?
There was a Native woman that was on. It was just during the time you did the pull up at the radio station. I guess it might have been from one of the Twitter Spaces or something. But there was a clip on YouTube. It was a Native woman, and you were very disrespectful.
Why don't you tell the audience what I did that was so disrespectful?
You kept interrupting her.
Who? What? There were Latinos at the radio station running up on me, trying to hit me.
I'm assuming we're talking about the gathering that was out front of Power 106 that one day.
Right. This was a discussion. I guess y'all were doing a debriefing, and that's another thing. There were security people came, and you said if they're not foundational black Americans, they couldn't be provide security.
You're just making up things. None of this ever happened.
Okay.
There's a gentleman in the space with me that was at every event I've ever done. That never happened, did it?
This was an online event. You had, I think it was a Twitter space, and it was a Native American woman, and there was another brother who was working with organization to bring peace between the groups. And you were very disrespectful.
But why won't you tell people what I did? You don't get to just mischaracterize me. Be detailed and tell people what I said, what I did.
You were very dismissive of her.
No, what did I say?
Okay, we're going in circles here.
Because she's just making up things.
Okay.
Okay, I'm making up things. Well,
you are making up things.
I want to address two things from last week.
Okay, do that on the other side. Do it on the other side, Fahima. Hold on. Do it on the other side, okay? 1-800-920-1580. 1-800-920-1580. We'll go back to Fahima on the other side and tie the show in a bow on the other side as well. Danny Mo Show. Stay there.
From Bakersfield to Los Angeles. From middays to nighttime. Like George and Wheezy, Danny Morrison is moving on up at KBLA Talk 1580.
Women's
Women's History Month continues as we honor the Black women who have made a way for us throughout history. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News, brought to you by Lendistry. Civil rights activist and broadcasting executive Zernona Clayton has been honored in Atlanta for all her astounding efforts within the civil rights movement over the years. On International Women's Day, she was honored with an 8-foot statue by sculptor Ed White in downtown Atlanta. Some of her contributions to the movement include being instrumental in the desegregation of Atlanta's hospitals, going undercover to investigate employment discrimination, organizing events for the SCLC at the time of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and more. I'm Maisha Cairo, and that's your K-Black Minute News.
Thanks to our new sponsor, Lendistry. Lendistry is a national Black-led small business lender that is headquartered in Los Angeles. Lendistry helps small business owners access the affordable capital needed to grow. Visit Lendistry, LENDISTRY.com/KBLA today.
Our Weekly Los Angeles is the largest audited Black newspaper in the state of California, with a distribution of over 50,000 copies weekly. Pick up a copy every Thursday to get the latest news on African American communities of LA. You can also keep up with what's going on in Los Angeles and surrounding cities by going to www.ourweekly.com. The Our Weekly website is updated daily with the current news about us and for us. For your advertising needs, Our Weekly offers economical advertising packages to fit your budget. Feel free to call Our Weekly Los Angeles at 323-905-1300 or visit the website at www.ourweekly.com. Our Weekly Los Angeles, reporting news that matters to you.
Real talk, real time, the gospel truth. You're listening to the Danny Morrison Show on KBLA Talk 1580.
You know, I came in here with a whole broadcast. Why you messing with my finger? Are we the same color?
No.
Let me see.
No.
You're lighter than I am.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. Are we the same color? Yeah. See, we brother, sister. See that? But you white, though. I forgot you were white. Isn't that the conclusion we came to today? Let's go back to the phones. Fahima, we got a couple minutes here. Fahima, you said you had a couple things to talk about from last week.
We're under the tyranny of the clock, so I'll just be quick. Last week near the end, you stated that President Biden had met with the African Union, and he was trying to get us placed into the African Union. He met with heads of African states, and the diaspora has been part of the 6 regions of the African Union since the 20th century. And Dr. Arikana Chiambori-Kwar started up the African Development Institute. She's the former ambassador of the African Union. And every Saturday, Africans, African Americans, people from the Caribbean, we meet because we're about doing something. And I would tell people to go look up the African Development Institute, headed up by Her Excellency, the former ambassador of the African Union, Dr. Arikana Chiambori-Kwar. We're looking at development, investment in Africa, trade, and things of that nature, stuff constructive, not negativity, attacking people, because if you're supporting reparations, the antagonism is not necessary. And I'm just going to end on that note. Please look at the African Development Institute, headed up by Dr. Arikana Chiambori-Kwar. You may not be able to spell her name, but she's the former ambassador of the African Union. If people are interested in Black people globally getting together and doing something constructive, I would encourage you to join that group. It doesn't matter if you're a Black American, from the Caribbean, the continent, all African descendants are welcome.
Got it. Give her a call tonight. Give it to her. Even though is she gone yet? Give Fahima a call tonight all the way from D.C. Appreciate you, Queen. Have a good one. Can we get through some listener questions? I brought in a whole show tonight, and you just totally derailed my entire show tonight.
I did not.
But go ahead. You want to answer what she said?
Real quickly.
Go ahead.
Whether you say you met with the African Union or the African heads of state, the African heads of state met with Joe Biden. I believe it was just last month. And he did, in fact, declare that Black Americans are now part of the African diaspora. This happened. So whether you want to say African Union, heads of state, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, they walked away with $55 billion and we got nothing. So that is my message. And then she said, you guys are always being negative. Again, Fahima, you keep putting your head in the sand when it comes to the insults and the slights that are hurled at us. Black American freedmen are complaining that on their jobs, Africans are reporting them for being racist. Like if their Black American supervisor writes them up, they go to HR, and then the Black American freedman has to go to diversity training. These are real life things. I have had an African woman on my last job that was extremely aggressive towards me. She didn't know I was about to get her fired. She was messing with the wrong person. But you pretending like none of this is happening, and then you go, why are you divisive? Again, I say this to you. If the white man is, if we're the tool of the white man and we're just espousing white talking points, why is it that Africans can't get along with one another on the continent? Why is it that Africans say, that we should be united, but they still stay so very separated from us? When we go in African businesses, we may as well be white. They stare at us so hard and are so nasty to us. And a lot of the Caribbeans are the same exact way. So if you're saying it's white imperialism that's causing the divide, then like I was telling you guys before, then act like it. Why aren't you unified with us? Why are you separating from us? And Fahima, again, you're not telling the truth. I know Africans that got the Jackie Robinson Scholarship. So you just pretending that none of this is happening is not helping us. And to you and people like you, I say shame on you. Shame on you. And everyone can see how you evade every question I ask you directly. You pivot and you pivot and you pivot, and you do everything but answer my question.
Here's some listener questions before we get up out of here. I was supposed to give you these coming in. One listener said, as we all know, Barack Obama was this country's first black president. But if we go by Connie's twisted ideology, a man that is literally the son of an African man wouldn't be eligible for reparations. Make it make sense.
He tells everyone he was the first Kenyan president. So there's nothing twisted about what I'm saying. Google it. Google is your friend. And no, he's not eligible for reparations. He is the product of a Kenyan and a white woman. He is not an American descendant of chattel slavery. He is not a freedman. He is not eligible. What is so hard about that?
Here's another one. What does it mean when you identify other black people as tethers?
Oh, that's not my talking point. The persons that use that, what they're saying is like a lot of melanated immigrants are tethering themselves to us, Black American freedmen, tying themselves to our culture. Like I said, we really would like you guys to get out of our culture. We have a distinct culture. We speak a certain way. You guys are on TV playing our roles. Cynthia Erivo again. She was hired by Adobe to do some little documentary on Black American freedmen skate culture. She was raised in the UK. That is very disrespectful. We're not going around pretending to be Caribbeans. We're not going around pretending to be Ghanaians or Malawians or anything. That is called tethering. When you tie yourself to someone else's culture, one, you should be ashamed of yourself because you're cosplaying and you're culturally appropriating us. There we have it.
Can you ask Connie, what does she foresee will happen when a segment of black people are given reparation checks when the other black people are still mired in mediocrity? I believe crime will get way worse than it is right now.
That makes no sense to me, but the other black people you're discussing are Caribbeans and Africans. The Caribbeans have CARICOM, who's fighting for reparations for them. I keep forgetting the name of the African group that's fighting for the Africans. Respectively, all of us have our own oppressors. We all went through something heinous: colonization, slavery in the Caribbean, slavery in the United States. However, we have different colonizers. We have different oppressors. Again, don't tie yourself to us. Go do your own work. Go after your reparations claim. Stop talking to us. Why are you guys so interested in our claim? Why aren't you building and working together to get what's owed to you? Use us as a brown print.
When Connie is talking about reparations, is she only talking about compensation for slavery or for those that have had to endure the racial terror through the 1900s? If it's the latter, I believe that's why she needs to work harder at widening the net of her argument.
Then I don't think you've heard my full argument. I was on the show last week.
I think you answered that pretty well.
Yes. Oh, you want me to go further?
No, we ain't got no
Okay.
time. We got 2.5 minutes here. Last
Okay.
question, and we'll get out of here.
Mhm.
Should there be an income cap on reparations, giving a check only to those who are middle class and down? Rich black people don't need no check.
Yes, they do.
Explain that. How?
Because we are the descendants of people who've lived through, as someone said, racial terror. Just because Oprah made it, or Michael Jordan made it, or whomever made it, they are still entitled to reparations.
You giving a reparations check to,
Yes.
to LeBron James?
Yes. Yes. And LeBron can give that to a poor family member.
Which is
if he
exactly
so
what they
chooses.
should do. I'm assuming they all would donate it.
Well, we would hope.
You sure?
But who are we to say just because you're wealthy, you don't get reparations? And even the wealthy go through very negative things. You remember that that athlete that got tackled in the hotel, like during COVID? You know, but there's athletes that have experienced police brutality.
No doubt.
Yeah, I just watched the Reggie Jackson documentary. He went through hell. He's wealthy, but he went through hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I say this all the time. I have 2 degrees. I've been through hell. I should be further in life than I am.
Are you rich?
No.
Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Looks like it.
Can I borrow some money?
No, you ain't got no money
Just
from
a
me.
little bit.
You take EBT? What do you
Huh?
mean? Nothing. Great show, boy. Wow. Crazy good. How do people get in contact with you? Not that you're going to tell them, but how do they get in contact with you? Can they follow you on socials? Can we do that?
Yeah, you already gave it out.
All right, what's your Instagram? Come on!
Connie Collins, She Shea Buttery.
By the way, what is that about? She Shea Buttery.
She's buttery. She Shea Buttery. Shea butter.
Okay.
I'm buttery.
Yes, you are. You are always shining when you come up in here. That is our show, y'all. I appreciate everybody on YouTube. The feed was on fire all night long, and the phone calls and the emails and everything. We will do this again soon.
Peace, love, and reparations.
Yeah, you say peace now.
Mm-hmm.
That is Connie Collins, reparationist and political activist. Good luck. God bless. Gone. We will be back tomorrow with another bomb show. It is the Danny Morrison Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. Be good.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for sharing a part of your Monday morning with us here on the Black Information Network. I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest. President Joe Biden